if you're someone who's at that point in their life where there's two paths that you can take in terms of your career, in terms of your purpose, and you don't know what path to pursue because everything sounds good and you can maybe do everything. Some seem better, others seem not, and you keep changing your mind over and over again. You do a little bit of it, but then there's a shiny object that comes and then you go there, you feel what you made was not perfect, you keep going back and forth, then this video is going to help you out a lot. So with that, let's get started. As a multi-passionate person, I have a lot of different interests. I spent years going back and forth between different business ideas. Eventually, I came to the spot where I was focusing on this one thing, right? And it was working for me, but then I found myself not being fully satisfied. So I started asking myself the question, is there something wrong with me? Because I know this is in alignment to my path, but what is really missing over here? What is it that I'm not giving myself the permission to go all out? Because here's what would happen. I would start creating my content, but then I would feel constricted and I would feel like, oh, I can't talk about this because my offer is about this. And let me know if you resonate with that. I just felt, oh, I would love to get into this topic, but this has nothing to do with my offer. And so I felt caged and I felt boxed in. And if you're a multi-passionate person, then you're going to feel that same constraint where you feel that you cannot describe what you offer and what you have to provide in a box. You're going to find yourself satisfied and then dissatisfied and then branching off into a new thing. It just doesn't work for multi-passionates. Multi-passionates are here to do multi-passionate things, to talk about a whole bunch of different things. And that is where your creative juices are going to flow. Can you just focus on one thing and do the thing? Yes, you can. And you can be good at it and you can make money with it too. But it is not going to be something that is going to give you that passion that you are looking for. I recently read this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And that book has given me so much understanding that goes deeper into your purpose and your passion. And in his book, Gay Hendricks talks about your 4 zones. He talks about the zone of incompetence, where these are the tasks that you're not that good at and you're terrible at it. Time slows down when you do it, just don't do it, right? That sort of a thing. I don't know. For me, it would probably be something like doing dishes, which I don't like. And I wish that task would just disappear from every human being's life. The second zone is your zone of competence. These are the things that you can do, but you find them draining. And the third is your zone of excellence. So zone of excellence is very confusing because these are the things that you are amazingly good at. You're good at it. Others will tell you're good at those things as well. But for you, over time, you're going to find them draining. You're going to get satisfaction from them because others tell you're good at it. You're able to deliver. You're able to provide that service to others. And a lot of people out there are going to tell you that this is what you should pursue in life because you're good at this thing. And you will feel that you're in that flow state as well because you have that skill. Your skill is good at this thing, but the challenge is not there. Eventually, over time, that challenge is going to disappear because you're not talking about all your passions. You're focusing on this one thing. And because that challenge goes away, you feel that sense of boredom and you feel that sense of depletion. The last zone he talks about is the zone of genius. Zone of genius is the zone that we should be in. This is where you can really express who you are, all the dimensions of you. You find it exhilarating. You wake up, there's this creative flow in the zone. You are good at it. You can express your whole dimension. The telltale sign is you will not find this draining, not even over time, because there's always something to explore and there's always something to dig into. Let me talk about this in terms of both multi-passionate and people who are not so multi-passionate, who have this one area of mastery, because it applies to both. If you're multi-passionate and you are in the zone of genius, then you still wake up every morning excited to do this work because you're doing so many different things. And say if you're bored by one thing, you start talking about something else, but there's a thread that eventually you will notice ties everything together because that thread is your life. And it is going to tie things in and you're going to be able to speak to it. You're going to have your creativity flow and you'll find yourself in that flow state. If you are someone who's not so multi-passionate, you have this one area that you focus in, even then it's going to bring about new and new areas of mastery where you go from one level to the other level to the other level and you get to that state of mastery. And therefore there's no boredom. Every morning You're waking up to a new challenge and you're like getting there. And your skills have to then be increased to match to that new zone, that new area of challenge to get yourself into that state of flow. So you will never find yourself in that boredom. This is going to show you that image of flow state that I'm talking about, where your skill is down here at the start of something, and then your challenge is high up here, because it's very difficult at the beginning when you don't have new skills. But over time, you get to that point of flow state because now your skills are going up and now it's less challenging over time. And this is that area of flow state where you feel that time flows by and you don't even sense time, and time is just flying. But now if you're in that zone of excellence, then you are going to get bored over time, because as your skill keeps going up, things are going to become less challenging for you and you're going to feel boredom in that area. Whereas when you're in that zone of genius, that graph looks very different, because your challenge at every turn is going to present a new challenge to you. Even as you get skill, the challenge is going to get bigger and bigger because you're exploring new arenas. If you are someone who's stuck at that crossroads, ask yourself that question. Which of the zones are you operating in? What does the skill lie in? If I give you two skills, one sits in that zone of excellence and one sits in the zone of genius, and I give you both of those and tell you, hey, if I tell you to do one of these two things tomorrow morning, as soon as you wake up, which one would you want to do? Which one excites you? And that is going to be your answer. It is going to be the thing that you want to pursue that really ties in everything that you have been through in life. In my case, I thought that data analysis, or just analysis in general, doing spreadsheets and all of that, was a thing for me, because everyone told me I was this visualization queen and I was so good at recognizing patterns and doing these visualizations. And then I ended up joining a role that allowed me to do just that. And what I found was that, yes, it was my zone of excellence for sure, but it was not my genius, because there were all these other areas that I had so much diverse experience in, but I couldn't bring those to the table in that role. So it wasn't really that great. It wasn't fun for me. Over time, I found myself getting bored. And I couldn't even imagine what it would have been for me to stay in that type of role for 10 plus years. Whereas creative work like this, I can find myself showing up every single day, especially when I don't constrict myself to this one area. Of course, over time, you have to find that one thing that you offer to someone. That's fine. That clarity can emerge over time. As you talk about things, you will notice that you're consistently talking about these few pieces, and there's a unique thread that ties all of them. There is a good chance where your skill is not going to be that good in the beginning, right? Because you're just starting this new thing and you're not a master in it yet. And that is okay. And that is where a lot of people stop themselves, because they think that this may not be the right thing and they have to be in that zone of excellence because that is something that they have already learned. You were a beginner at that at some point in your life as well. And then you learned and you got better and better at it. And the same thing's going to happen over here, where you will eventually get better at it and you will eventually get there. So don't put that pressure on yourself. Don't stop yourself from going there just because you think you're not good as everybody else. That would be doing yourself a disservice. There's always going to be people who will want to hear from you. The people who want to hear from you are going to be just 5 steps behind you. It's not that serious. You don't need to be at this grandmaster level in order to have a following. You can start at that very beginner level. Even if you're someone who has just read one book and you want to speak to that book, a person who's not read that book will still have a lot to learn from you. And it's not that you're copying someone else's stuff, but you will be able to provide your unique perspective on that material. And that's what differentiates us from each other. It's the way we express our genius. You could say the same thing and add your own perspective to it, add your own creativity to it, and make it yours. Not all of us have unique ideas. If you are familiar with human design, your head center in human design is the one that generates these very original out there ideas. And you'll be surprised that 80% of humanity has their head center undefined. They cannot create these original ideas. Their ideas are usually a mesh of these different ideas. And you mix it all up and you come up with this creative spark and a different spin and perspective on it. So you're likely, if you're an undefined head center, you're not going to have original ideas. Don't put that pressure on yourself. But your value comes from you being able to assimilate those different ideas and create this beautiful alchemy and a mix that someone else would be able to appreciate. I always tell my students that You will sometimes pick up a bestseller, but it doesn't click. But then you pick up another book on the same topic from somebody who is not that well known. But whatever they said, it just resonated and it just clicked. It's because you were attuned to whatever it is that they had to say. In human design, it's called your fractal. These are the people that you deeply resonate with. And these are the people that you are here to hear from. Give yourself that permission. There's always going to be someone for you. And you don't have to get yourself to that level in order to get there. With that, I hope this has helped. Let me know if you find yourself at this point of tension, at this conflicting point where you don't know which direction to take, where you had to make the decision and what helped you make that decision. So yeah, if you've not already done so, be sure to subscribe to my channel and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.